And the Zerg to the bottom left, starting for CJ Enters, is none other than
CJ Entus SonGDuri.
SonGDuri with a 2-0 in the group so far. This is his third map that he plays. The same is true for his Protoss opponent to the bottom right. The Protoss player called
Wongjin Stars Fly.
And their way through the group could not have been any different. Flying lost both of his games. He lost the game against Yoda, and he also lost the game against Super. SonGDuri, on the other hand, won both of his matches already. That leaves SonGDuri here being the rank 1 player in the group, and Flying taking the last spot. For Flying, everything is on the line. If he loses this map, then he is out. He will have to participate in the Challenger League next season. And if SonGDuri takes it, then he's the first player today to advance to the Premier League.
Very true. You know what I love about this map is it has a very head-to-head feel. You look at it and there's just one path that you take. There's a bunch of other stuff to the north, but that usually just doesn't come into play unless the game ends up being a really, really strange, weird one. But otherwise, this map is very much, alright, I'm taking my third base towards you, you're taking your third base towards me, you take one that's farther away from me, like for example, if flying to the base of the top right, then it's a little bit more exposed. But generally speaking, the map is very, very head-to-head. You have a lot of action all the time, players just running into each other on those attack lanes. It reminds me of like, it almost reminds me of Metalopolis, where you had 2 players spawning at the top or 2 players spawning at the bottom close by air. It's just very, very, so much action. The rush distance is not too far.
Flying is starting things off now with a Forge first in this game. Or, well, actually he heads into the Nexus first and then goes into Forge, but a Forge opening nonetheless.
Yep.
Whereas for his opponent, we have Pool into Hedge. And just looking at the stats for them, just to give you guys a bit of an idea of how strong they are in this matchup, we have SonGDuri with a 55% win ratio at 11 maps played. In terms of best of 3s, he won against Free, Sora, and Emotion. He lost to Creator with an 0-2 just recently, though. And Flying, on the other hand, he has a lot more games played. 19 maps in total, 58% win ratio, took down opponents like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like crazy, was successful against Roro and Su. So, pretty decent record here against some of the best. But for him, there has to be just so much pressure on his shoulders now that he is 0-2 in the group, and he knows that he has to win 2 games. And one of the players that he has to win against, Savage, he just recently lost the map in Pro League against the guy. So definitely not the most comfortable position for Flying to be in, but maybe this is the matchup where he is able to shine and start his comeback.
Exactly, because we've only seen the other 2 so far. Very quick third base here for SonGDuri. Takes the one closer to his opponent. Man, is totally cutting gas out just now. And I'm wondering what Flying is going to do, because Flying is a very aggressive, very strange player, as we've seen already. And I wonder if he will do something like, you know, Phoenixes, try to send them across the map because it's close by air, or if he tries to take a risky third, like what we saw Super do and fail earlier.
You know what's really interesting about the group that we have today? Well, this is still a little bit like calm, the game here. The interesting thing about the group is that at this point already, we have 2 players who can make it out on their own strength right now if they just win one of their additional matches. It doesn't really matter anymore what the opponents are doing. If SonGDuri wins either this game or the next one, he still has 2 matches to play, then he's through. And Yoda is currently at a 2-1. And how the group turns out, if Yoda wins his next match, no matter what happens in the other games, he will also go to the Premier League. So both of these players already have it in a position where they can win. No matter what Flying and what the other players are doing, if they take their games, then they are through. And SonGDuri kind of has 2 shots at that, and Yoda only 1 later on against Super. So pretty interesting position. That usually doesn't happen this fast in a 5-player
Yeah,
group.
It's just kind of a funny way things came together here. Gas is shown now at the natural. Flying has taken all 4, and he has started a Stargate. It's finished now, and I do not believe SonGDuri has seen the Stargate. He just... Let me check, sorry.
Ooh, actually what interests me a lot is that we have a Void Ray opening instead of the Phoenixes. Usually you see most players really opt for the Phoenix in the early game and then go for the Harass. That's something that usually as a Zerg doesn't phase you too much, or at least you expect it. It's one of those builds that is just so common that you are prepared for it.
Right.
But very interesting to see the opening now with the Void Ray.
It's very Flying-esque, I feel, to do something like this. Now, what he can do, because he's also aware the Overlord hasn't seen his Void Ray, is if he has plans to do a Void Ray all-in, just start a second one, and he does,
But we have also apparently like Roach and Zergling aggression coming out of SonGDuri. This is a very aggressive opening that he chose here. He's going into 4 Overlords now. Took a very, very early gas. Heads now into the speed for the Zerglings. And funny as it is, with the Void Ray opening, it's a pretty cool opening for Flying to beat that down if SonGDuri actually follows through with it, because that definitely was his original plan. But a Void Ray and 2 Void Rays are just so great against aggressive Roaches. And there we go. 7 Roaches are being built, 19, 20, 24 additional Zerglings. That's exactly what we were just talking about. Very aggressive opening by SonGDuri, but the Void Rays actually work quite well for flying in this scenario.
Yeah, he doesn't have a wall though. And that's where the Zerglings can be a problem. The Roaches are definitely not going to be any of his concern with all these Void Rays, even the 3rd Void Ray coming out right now.
Wow, interesting follow-up here for SonGDuri.
Yeah, he gets Lair and adds 4 gases. It looks like he has a Mutalisk follow-up in mind. A 2nd Stargate added for flying.
So, oh wow, he goes into triple Stargate in total. I like that a lot. I like that really a lot. It's one of those strongest builds that a Protoss has, but he has to make sure that he beats this early aggression down.
Yeah, these Roaches are going to look silly, but the Lings, those are the big problem. He only has 2 Sentries here. He does not have a wall. He can make one with Force Fields, but his Force Fields are way too late. The Sentries go down.
He needs Photon Overcharge, and he needs it now. Where is that Photon Overcharge? Where is that Mothership Core?
It's standing right there. He's just waiting. Finally, he drops it down.
That might have been too late.
That is way too late to save the Nexus, that's for sure.
He could have done it, I feel. No, well, maybe not.
Well, you know, it would have been much closer, for sure. And this Nexus remake is definitely not going to happen right away. And oh, he blocks at the natural. That was so important. I don't think he knows about the Stargates. If he does...
No, he doesn't. We have the Hydralisks now, and that is a very common transition for Zerg. The upgrades are, of course, delayed with the build that SonGDuri has chosen so far. But him taking down that 3rd base, that was really, really important. The problem for flying that he was relying only on a few gateway units, and he didn't really identify what was going on. The Void Rays alone, awesome against Roaches, but the Lings, you need a couple of force fields and also Zealots to shut that out.
And he's going to try to force a cancel here, and I think he very well may be able to. The Nexus is still very low on hit points. There's only 1 Void Ray. He did not attack with them earlier. No, not going to get it.
The thing is, he could have.
I think he could have, too. That was a little bit weird. But he's still going to get... He's going to be dealing with some harassment here with these Void Rays. I like this a lot by flying.
Yeah, but 14 Hydralisks are being built, and if he's not careful, the Hydralisk might be able to snipe the Void Rays. If that happens, then flying is dead in the waters. Then SonGDuri has just to go for the aggression and take the game.
He's going to try to trap them. Needs a target here.
Yeah.
No range just yet.
But we have still triple Void Ray being built, and if you are up against Hydras, you need to be careful. There are just so many timings for a Zerg player we can be super aggressive against this, especially now that we have range nearly completed and +1/+1 being researched.
I'd feel a lot better for flying if instead of that Twilight Council that's coming up, we see a Robotics coming up where you can switch into those Colossi, but...
He wants to have Storm.
He wants the Storm, and you know, that is a very valid option, especially against the Hydralisk composition. And we do see now Hydra speed along with Roach speed being researched. I like Flying's position though a lot more than SonGDuri's, to be honest, because he's not being attacked right now. He's just able to comfortably stay on his bases and keep making Void Rays.
I don't know, it's a really peculiar position in the game. This is very tense, because what SonGDuri is trying to do here is get his upgrades out and attack with 1/1 Hydralisk, add a couple of Roaches or Zerglings just as a buffer, which he doesn't even need against what we have here for Flying. He doesn't have a lot of gateway units that he can rely upon. He's relying upon a lot of Void Rays. But a 4th base is up to the top left. The really good thing for Flying is the pylon that he built top left, so that he can warp in. But I'm not quite sure if he can hold against this.
Yeah, well, that's the question. He's warping in a few more sentries here.
Speed is going to kick in soon.
He doesn't have a lot of gateways, but he does have those cannons. Cannons can tank a lot of damage while the Void Rays try to do damage from above. Oh, I like the position of approach, though. He sends from 2 angles. A great flank here. Can he hold? Flying's cannon starting to go down instantly here.
I think so. 1/1 is done. The Void Rays on the way. Photon Overcharge will be there in a second. He needs to bait them out a little bit and then move in. And there we go. Takes the first one to the left side, but his army is not together. He's moving in again. He's trying to draw those Void Rays out. He's really reluctant to engage against them.
It looks like he just wants to wait for more units to come across the map and then go once the overcharge is expired. This gives a lot of time to Flying, though, to get more cannons, get more gateway units. He's trying to get charge out here. Doesn't go for Storm right away.
Here we move in. The Hydras, are they able to take down the Void Ray numbers? They are already a lot.
He's so nervous to commit, you know, and he should be. It's a very stressful situation to commit to an engagement like this. But now he's dealing with the Zealot run by.
I feel he could have already taken it, but as it is,
could
he's
have,
going
I
into
think.
Infestors.
You know, he really had enough Hydras to DPS down the Void Rays, but he was too nervous to commit.
Well, what that shows is that that SonGDuri is very confident in his abilities to take that down later on in the game, and he wants to go into Infestors to pin those Void Rays down and take the ability to kite away from them. We have Dark Templars coming in on the other hand, and those DTs, they could do a lot. We have Overseers being built 4 at a time, but can he take down the Dark Templars before they do enough damage?
Well, he's definitely going to lose a lot of drones here. This this third base, or fourth base, excuse me, is definitely going to die. Well,
the Hydras!
he's going to lose it.
He needed transfuses there, and he didn't use them, so actually the DTs for flying, they do so much.
So much damage here. There he goes, gets down, but there's still one in the main base.
And not only in the main, there's another one over at the left side. I'm not quite sure if he took that down already. 8 Harvesters killed. That's not too significant in this position, but still, he took down a hatch, and that's a bigger problem. Suddenly, it's 3 bases against 3.
That was a lot of resources committed, though, to those DTs. And he doesn't have a lot of gateways added just yet. That's why you could see that SonGDuri, even though he lost that base to the left, he still had already mined so much to make it worth it. He has a huge supply lead.
Everything that SonGDuri has on the map is countered by High Templars. He needs to do some damage before he gets before there are too many of them. Because if Storm is there, Storm and feedback against what currently is on the map for SonGDuri here is like the best thing that flying can hope for.
Yeah. Infestors, Queens, of course, against the Void Rays. That can be feedbacked. Then, of course, the Storms on the Zerglings, which there are quite a lot of. He's really relying on those. I like his pressure here, constantly making it so that Flying can't take a fourth, because Flying needs that more than anything else right now. This engagement feels a little bit more shaky to me than the one we saw before, but Storm is not quite ready yet. And there's Lings on the main base. It's going to distract the Void Rays. The Void Rays are out of position. He comes in here at the third base.
It comes down to the Fungals. It comes down to the Fungals. The Storm is not done, and that is the most important part here. Where are those Fungals? There they are.
They are.
Now
They
he
are
can
perfect.
move in, and that's what he does.
Storm is ready. He goes for the Storms. The Hydras, though, they are able to retreat, and there's nothing left to finish them off.
The Void
Nexus
Rays are gone. The Void Rays are all gone, and down goes Flying. 70 supply against 170. The timing here on 2-2, it works out. The Infestors are finally in the game. The third base is gone. There is no fourth, and we have now 4 bases against 2. The High Templars taken out, and GG.
Patient, safe play for SonGDuri, and that's why he is the player to advance first from the group.
Well done. SonGDuri advances to the Premier League. Really impressive performance here today. And against Flying, showing a bit of patience. He was not sure if he could take down the Void Rays early on. Then he went into the Infestors instead, and even with the DTs, Flying could only buy him a little bit of time.
That Ling run by in the main as well really helped him out, because it distracted the Void Rays for just long enough for him to close the gap. He needed those Void Rays too. He couldn't fight against the Hydras with them straight up, but he needed something there to buy 10 more seconds, 15 more seconds for Storm to be ready. He couldn't wait.
Yeah, Storm finished a little bit too late, only 2 were dropped, and by that time most of the Void Rays were already gone, and that was the big problem here. With Storm and the Void Rays, maybe, but as it is, the Void Rays were already eliminated. The Nexus is about to fall low in hit points, and he just crushed through that army. So SonGDuri making it work, taking a 3 on the group and advancing to the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely going to be, I think he's going to be great in Codex going forward to the Premier League. This guy really impressed me today. Just such safe play, such calculated play. You know, the one game that didn't really look as strong, I guess, was the ZVZ, where he just happened to get lucky and run in and get that win. But
yeah, that was weird. I actually thought that Savage, with a good defense, had such a good lead in the game. Not necessarily won, of course, by any means, but that was really weird. Like, SonGDuri got a bit of a free win there. We are going into a short break, and when we are back, we will find out who else is going up to the Premier League. So far, Flying is eliminated. SonGDuri is already through. 3 players remaining: Yoda, Savage, and Super. So stay tuned, and then after a break, we'll find out who of the 3 will go to the Premier League together with SonGDuri.